We'll just make sure all the other stuff's on. Yep. And ultra reflection should be on low. And volumetric effects. Let's try volumetric effects at low. It was a big difference, I think. But it also looks crisper to me. Isn't that the fog? Yeah, with that low as well, yeah. And all the rest of it's good. Yeah, leave it on that. Leave it like that. Yeah, like that. And the anti-aliasing could be a medium. You don't need to push it. Honestly, we don't need to push, like... Well, we do need to push that stuff. But, yeah, we do. But we don't need the shadows could be just disabled. I don't think that matters either. Yeah, this game doesn't need shadows, frankly. So, yep. So... Yeah, game's beautiful. And look, the frame rate's solid right here. It's like, I mean, I don't know. It's sitting at 115, 116, 115, yeah. It's alright. I should not have left my light on while I was up here. Oh well. Yeah, if we can get enough wall frames, right? Can we, oh, there was one I missed, yep. Can we get enough, like stability? Right? Oh my god, can I go higher? Tell me I can go higher. Yup, I can go higher. Okay, and this is about where it becomes obvious that it's here. Yep. This is where I push it. This is pushing it, I think, yeah. You need the cover of the trees lower, so this is no good. We'll break all this. But oh my god, look at the fucking view and the stuff that I can get away with before they notice. They'll never know. That right there, see, is too ambitious. This whole thing's too ambitious. Break it all. Yep. Break that. Anything to give me away, anything that gives me away is really deadly, so... We'll just, we'll just break all that. Don't need to get greedy about any more than we need. Like, less is more. The more kind of subtle it is, the better. We were able to get further in that direction, hidden maybe. Let's see. Yeah, we were able to get... I think maybe it would be best if we could get a... Nope, it wouldn't let me. What about that? We do that. No, you won't let me do it. What about, that? Nope. What about that? Nope, won't do that either. So, that's okay. So, this is the extent. This is the... I wish I could get a platform here. That way? Nope, I don't think so. Yep, but no, this is it. And so, yeah, right about here... So something that draws the eye is the staircases themselves look like trees, but the wall frames don't, and the wall frames will draw the human eye. But yep, and I guess yeah, the walkway is cool. I like it, but I'm scared of it. Like I want to get rid of that. I think that's a little too obvious. Yeah, like anything that just kind of looks like it could be part of the tree, but is hidden from view. Like that's a little too obvious, I think. We're gonna drop that one. Yep. Anything that isn't super hidden by the, yeah, by the tree cover. Yep. And we can even go super higher over here onto a flat platform. Awesome. And yeah, this is where I could do my best sniping. If they're flying by... Yep, and they'll never know what hit them. They'll never know where it came from. They'll like right. And so I'm gonna put a box. I'm not gonna put a box up here, but I'm gonna put like I'm gonna stand here on this point right here, and I look just like a tree. I look exactly like a tree, right? And they could see you if they're there. But the chances of them nailing who or what was or where it was from, right? If I was like right here, they would never see it. They'd never know what it was. If they were, say, flying over that direction, right? Bra, 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 bra. Or, well, it would be the custom. And I would just spray suppress custom at them, and they'd never know. They'd never know where it was from. I mean, the likelihood of them flying past, well, I mean, I hear them sometimes, though. Like if they go to bandit camp, if I hear them fly into bandit camp, I want to shoot them on their way out. They'll be getting up, they'll be taking off, and I'll be like, I'll like hide in a tree here where they can't tell where it's from. Yeah, like that, right? I'll come here with a suppressed custom, and that custom is a godsend, and I'll spray custom into the sky. I won't be able to hit them unless they fly past me. But yeah, they'll never see this. They'll never understand what it is. It looks like trees. Yeah, you'd really have to be looking. You'd have to be looking. This is like my best work. I fucking love this shit. Like, dude. I should take a video for my clan. Hey guys, I want to show you something I did on the zombie server. Look at this shit. If they like, I just run down here and they would never find me. They'd never be able to see me. Cover is right here, like good cover, like the kind of cover where they would never be able. They could hover and buzz me. They'd still never kill me. They'd never do it. They'd never be able to see me. Same as here. This is perfect too. Right here is perfect. We know that. Like I gotta remember, like right under the platform is a fucking safe. It's like a safe thing. I can come up here and I can put a campfire right here, and I can sit by the campfire at night. Let's look at fun stuff, right? I'll make a chair. I'll put a fucking beach chair here. Yeah, do I have any metal frags? No, I don't. But I'll make a beach chair here, and I'll kick back with an umbrella right here, right? And a beach chair on this platform, and I'll just watch the sunrise and the fucking in the launch site. Like, another thing I could do is I don't think the wall frames would stick out that much. And I could do like this. Watch this. I think I could do something else here too. Oh, nope, they won't let me. They don't want me going any higher. What about that guy? Oh, nope, that worked though. So, oh yeah, so we go demolish. And so we come up on this half wall here, right? And we come up to here. And we jump up and we go over. Yep. Oh, it's so genius. It's so genius. What about a floor triangle? Nope. What about a floor triangle there? No? You want to do it, huh? Okay. Yep. And so, nope, they want me to do that. Didn't we do that? No, they want me to do that. That's okay. So, yep, and we get out about as high as we could possibly go. The wall frame is hidden by the trees. I don't think they would see unless they were looking for it. It looks exactly like trees. They'd have to be like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? It's hidden by trees, and it's, like, not obvious. They'd have to be flying over, and they'd be like, what the fuck is that, right? Little do they know. Little do they know. Look at this. I'm like so high up. It's so awesome. I could snipe the recycler. I will get an 8x and I will snipe the recycler with a prototype. And they're like, where is it coming from? Where is it coming from? I can't leave. And yep. I can shoot zombies from here. Look at this. They didn't aggro, and I don't want them to aggro, honestly. I should switch out for a custom just in case I get a flyer. I want to put a SAM site platform right the fuck here, you know? And power it, too. Give it its own wind turbine up here. I'll put a wind turbine right the fuck here on this platform, right here, right? Where they can't see it. Yep, and they'll be like the trees will block the wind turbine. They won't even know it's there. And I'll wire it down, and I'll run a SAM site, and I'll shoot down mini helis that are going to bandit camp. And then I'll loot their corpses. Oh, why can't I get a Balti? There's just like a lack of Baltis on this server. It's so annoying. Yep. This is my style of base from now on. I'm going to go build where there's a bunch of trees, like tall trees like this. Big pack of trees like that over there. And I'll build right in the middle of it a really small base, but tall. Little 2x1 hidden, packed in, but in the trees. And all the way up, like as far as the eye can see, all the way up is wall frames all the way up. And at the top of it, I hide in the trees in a platform and I shoot your fucking ass. Oh, yeah. No one can really see this. It's so cool. This was great content, just great. Oh, hey, look, I already have 5 million. Yep. I'll just go compress at his thing and keep coming back. I'll save this icicle. Go right the fuck to it. Oh, man, I'm doing better in this game now. Much better. Where am I right now? Yeah, so... I want to mess with the window a little bit more. I want to see if I can get a window config that's smaller. Like the window width, right? I want it to be like that, but I want it to fit, right? Yeah, and I want the other one to be like that too. I want the window width to be tall, but I want them to be tall. Yeah, like I want these to be super tall. $20 and $6. Try that. No, I want this one to be full. Yep. And then we go window width, window width. And now I want to relog because I want it on the left side of my screen, but I want to be able to see what I'm doing. It never occurred to me to do this. This is way better because then when I zoom in, I can actually still see pretty well. Yep. So let's see. Now I want to log and see if I can get the windows to fix. Let's see if that... It seems like it's already kind of fixing. It's good. I am a super genius.
The asteroid is depleted.
I wonder if this thing will shoot down my twig. I bet it will, and it'll be annoying if it does. God, this is cool. What a cool idea. Yeah, like anything that isn't really needed should just be removed. Like, I don't need that. Now that's needed, but I don't think anything else here is... no, I like this too. This is good cover. I'm gonna party up here. I'm gonna bring a fucking, like, a radio up here, and I'm gonna sit here. I don't think that one's necessary. Yep, and we just reduce anything that we don't need, because A, it's expensive, and B... that works, and this is good. That's a good one that's really hidden, so that's a much better one. Should go get the milk crate. I need to get points into fall damage because it's fun to jump off really tall things and not have to do all the work. Oh, went too far. Oops. It's 11 a.m. I should do a run to Outpost again. Okay, so, yep. That was cool. I built a treetop tower. Fuck yeah. I love that thing. That is going to cause me a lot of RP joy. I should seal all this, but I need more stone. I might have to break that water. I don't know. Maybe not, though. I don't know. I like being able to see out the base, honestly. I'm going to leave it how it is. Okay, let's go to Outpost. I am having too much fun. Oh, look at all that money. Yeah, monies. Eat the pennies. Oh, look, I'm alone. What a good time to go to the Outpost. Without the stalkers. Oh, I need to eat. Yes. Let's go inside and eat. I don't need the knife, I have the jackhammer. If there's... no one on, I will take a pump shotgun with me. It's risky, but you know, it's fine. We'll take not as many bullets, but definitely as many shotgun rounds, and we'll just, yep. Yeah, we'll put the knife away for now. I don't know. Knife has flash gather of 20. This has flash gather of 5. So it does serve a purpose, actually. And we'll refill this guy. And I have fuel in my helmet. Yep. Where's my... oh, my balloon's over there. I forgot about that balloon. Yeah, the balloon is actually the best play. So, yeah, we'll take like 120 cloth and a hammer. And I'll go over there and I'll get in the balloon and I'll take it to Outpost. Yeah. I'll take it somewhere near Outpost and I'll chop wood and then I'll take it to Outpost. I need an extra bit of fuel for the balloon. I'll put it away, I think. So, yep. And we'll take like half that and that's good. Oh, I didn't get food. Damn it. I came for food, but I forgot. I know pump shotgun. Oh, I know revolver. I should buy a revolver around there. Ah, you are annoying. Okay, so what are we doing? We are getting food. No, these trees don't really protect me. But I don't see why I can't chop them. Some of them. Actually, these trees do protect me, but... What do you sell? I don't know what's going on with that, but it's scaring me. And then we just come over here where all these loot is. We come over here and we chop these trees that are close to each other. Oh shit. Yes! Gotta love that sound. Oh yeah. Let's cap out mining better. Oh yeah, now we're gonna get a better coefficient on those mining spots. That's good. Oh, did I put wood in there? Yeah, I did, but that's alright. So yeah, that's okay. We needed to. We need to. Damn, I can turn the graphics up, like, there's no problem, really. I didn't think about it, but I can. I can, like, go higher. Shadow quality, max shadow lights, the 4 cascades. I want the shadows higher and the parallax higher. That's all. That's the only thing I want. Max shadow lights could be better. The water should stay down. Depth shadows look better. Way better. Ooh. Look at those shadows fall. Fuck yeah. Everything's running better as time goes by. Oh, it's for me. It's for me. Look at that. Haha. I can't even get lost either. It's right on the road, I think. It's right on me. Yep. Basically on me. I could take my suppressors off, frankly. There's really no reason. It'd be a nice feeling to actually fire a P2. I haven't done that in a while. How's this going? Oh, you are not mining for some reason. Oh, because you're full. Okay, well, pull the ice drum back and go... Oh, look, hey, it's all my old bookmarks and everything. Cool. So we will go to structure to a public refinery called that.
Warp drive active.
And, yeah, and we'll go get that. Great. Come on, guns. I guess I ignored the balloon, but I know where it is. Look for a milk crate or something in here. I don't see anything. Since, oh, look at all that. That's actually a lot of XP, but... Yeah. I wonder if I can kill him this way.
Docking request accepted.
Wait, that does work. Shit. That's fun as hell. Fun as hell. Gotta keep moving now. Cool. Can I compress? I can. Oh, I'm going to make so much money here. I've been doing it wrong. I've been doing it wrong. Oh, undock. Cool. 7 million. Not bad. Let's make more.
Warp drive active.
Nice. Got him. Come on, something good. Come on, something good. Come on, something good. Oh, I mean, it's okay. It's a good... Last time I got one of these, I died immediately. Oh. I'll have to eat these, I suppose. F1 grenade's okay. Okay, so we're in desert now, so let's go to desert and find the outpost. I think I'm coming from a different direction. I think maybe I see it? I don't know. Yeah, that's the outpost. I mean, I guess right now that's better than... I'll put 5 coffee cans in my base with all of my suits and everything, and I'll do a whole locker. I'll get a locker and I'll buy. Is that the outpost? Yeah, and I know how to get back there from here. Oh, wait. No sulfur. I mean, it's XP. And we'll just go trade this for stone. Actually lives so close to the outpost, it's like a pretty direct run, actually. This was a different way to do it. I should hit the mill crate, because what if it's another shotgun or something? It's stupid to pass by it. Should go on the roof, too. I should climb that pylon and make sure I'm going to outpost, because it doesn't really feel like I am. Oh, there's the needle. So I can get back to where airfield is. Ooh, gear is good. I need it. So, yeah, we'll, yeah. I'll kill you if you fuck with me. Yeah. And give me the milk crate. Come on, something good. Aw, man. Guess I'll just pop this, I suppose. I mean, yeah, I don't really have the room. But I'll take the scrap. There, someone lives there. Oh, someone's back on now, which sucks. Just having fun there. Better put the suppressor back on. These, I should bow most of them. Large barn, but not what I need. Maybe I should ride the train. Yeah, I'll ride a train and I'll find outposts that way. And I can get home from outposts, no problem. There's a whole pacing to all of it that I'm getting better at. I don't know if it's that way. I think it's that way, though. Yeah, we're going to go that way. Oops. What? How dare you, sir? Just wasting ammo at this point. Wait, that is Outpost, isn't it? Go back. That is Outpost. That's Outpost right there. Isn't that Outpost? Yeah, I think that's Outpost, I think. Where's the train yard? I can't tell. It's train yard. So, keep going. I haven't rode a train yet this wipe. I will enjoy it. Oh no! Oh no! Oh good. Oh, I was like, fuck this. I just want to get on this. Where's the fucking outpost from here? I do not remember. There's the outpost. Okay, how are we doing here? Where's my helmet? What? Where's my helmet at? Oh my god. Did you throw the helmet away? Oh my god. You threw away 100 fuel. You really did. You did. You threw away 100 fuel. Why? Why? Where I mean, alright, fine. I guess the coffee can's better than the helmet with the fuel in it. I also left the fuel in the... I think something weird happened here. So it gave me the fuel, but it didn't give me the helmet. Which is not good because it's like 4 p.m. I don't have a light source now, so... Gotta get the fuck out of here. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I need. I have 87 scrap. We're gonna buy a gear. And we're gonna leave. And, yeah. Looking good here. Did a pretty good haul. I could get more, I would say. I guess. I don't know. I could get more. But I mean, it's nice to have 2 spots for the loot and probably some incoming scrap and stuff. So yeah, we'll just or fuel. Yeah, we'll just and crude oil. And we'll just yeah, we'll fill up. Rope's okay. Yeah, I guess rope. Yeah, rope. More stone, huh? Oh, there's a balloon, and I have all the cloth and everything to fucking fix it, which is good. So, let's just go home on that. That works for me. That's what I brought all this stuff for. So, drop this for a second. Give me a hammer. Put some fuel in this, and we can just take this home. Sweet. Take me up. Cool. Take me home. It's all hella foggy. Yeah, and we'll start getting some momentum in this direction. And I'll just let it burn. So we go like that direction, you know? We'll go like a full circle all the way around, get some momentum. We go up and over this mountain. Yep, and not towards launch, not into launch anyways. Yep, and then we go this direction, burn. I love the fucking hot air balloon. It's like my favorite thing in Rust. Once you learn it, it's so fun. Just skips all this terrible terrain and nobody can really get at you. There's the airfield. There's... I think that's my gas station. Oh no, we got too low. Oops. We lost our momentum. That's okay. Okay, no, that's not the gas station. That's, yeah, we want to go... Yeah, we want to go that way. Yep. It's hard to see with all the fog, but... There's Large Barn. We want to go that direction. Yep. Oh, you took us the other way. That's okay. Spin us back the other way. Oh no, there's the needle, or I don't know. Like I need it's so foggy I can't see where we are. I think it's that way, actually. Yeah, I think so. I think it's like way over this way. Yep, and right on the tip of the snow over here. Oh no, where's the bandit camp? I can't see it anymore. And I'm like out of fuel. I might not have any more fuel for this. We'll try up and over this mountain now. Oh god. Oh, 13 left. Oh no, I'm in a bad situation. Where do I go? I should just go back to the launch site. I should go back to the launch site because I can get home from there. I can. Wait, isn't that guy right by me? Yeah, I think I'm here. Yeah, this is me. This is me. Or well, no, just pull it. It's fine. It's fine. Just pull out. That's good. I can get back from here. We're not gonna get any higher than this, anyways. Yep, and this is my manhole cover. I made note of it because, like, I could go farm it right now, actually. Like, it would be a good time to do it. Go down there with a proto and just wipe that place and see what kind of loot I could get from the milk crates. But honestly, just looting the gas station repeatedly is the same damn thing, pretty much. You might get 2 milk crates down there, but it's a lot of walking and a lot of fighting. It pays out scrap-wise each time, but it doesn't really pay out loot-wise very well. And right over this hill is my base. I'm so good at this. Yeah. Look at how foggy everything is. It's so cool. Wow, the fog effect looks a lot better now. Okay, and yeah, we made it home with a fucking metric butt ton of stone. How's this going? Great. We're up to 10 mil. Gonna make a lot of money here and I don't have to pay anybody or anything, which is good. Okay, so all very good, and then we will pull you and you and you and you and put you. There. We got 3 days in this base. Good. We're gonna pull the metal out of there and put stone in there. We will do the rest of this base. we're gonna seal the rest of the space, but first we gotta put a lot of this away. Good, and we'll take the wood and the stone that I got. And then we're gonna make the upkeep on the space even more. And we're really gonna fucking turtle this bitch. We're gonna turtle it. And we'll put lights in it. All throughout it. And I'll get a wind turbine by chopping wood and then selling it at Bandit Camp tomorrow, maybe. So, let's see. I'm looking for, yeah, the rest of this stuff, right? Like, I don't want them to be able to easily come in. So that's a thing, and that should be a wall. I need a BP and a hammer. That's the thing. I guess I need enough metal for a couple. Like, I should just bring metal with me because I have some metal needs now, and I didn't think about it. What time is it? It's 1 in the morning. I should eat something. I just don't know what. Oh no, that's right. We have lasagna. I forgot. I can just throw the old lasagna in the microwave. I'll be right back, guys. Sorry. Quite good. Okay, we can take a break and see what's going on YouTube. Excuse me. Sausage. Let's watch Philip DeFranco. What's up, Philip DeFranco? Oh, we already queued this video, so let's go run it.
Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show. This is your 4th news show of the year, actually the final of our first week back. So a quick thank you and love yo face to everyone that's hopped back on the news train in 2024. We got a lot of news to talk about today. We've got Lil Nas X getting blasted for this Jesus scandal. Mr. Beast could be the key to beating YouTube. We've got Trump, bomb threats, and South Africa presented their chilling genocide case against Israel today. And there's even more, so buckle up, hit that like button to start 2024 off right. And let's just jump into it. Starting with, Jesus Christ is at the center of today's big internet controversy. Also Lil Nas X. Well, specifically Lil Nas X, because of Jesus. Which I also gotta say, Lil Nas X Trojan horse the fuck out of so many people. Man busted onto the scene with Old Town Road, doing his little honky tonk with Billy Ray Cyrus. It became the biggest song of the year, and then he just went on to make some of the most explicitly gay music for the next 5. And then going further, releasing Satan Sneakers with Blood, put out a music video where he gave Satan a lap dance. But for a second, some people were like, uh-oh, Lil Nas X is gonna switch up this year. Because on his Instagram, he seemingly out of nowhere just posted this image of Jesus, announcing his new single, J. Christ, and writing that the song is dedicated to the man who had the greatest comeback of all time. So with this, we immediately saw backlash, with a number of people saying he's rage baiting Christians for some sort of relevance. So Lil Nas X hit back, saying the crazy thing is nowhere in the picture is a mockery of Jesus. Jesus' image is used throughout history in people's art all over the world. I'm not making fun of shit. The problem is y'all judge everything at face value. I've never released a visual without an underlying meaning, and y'all know that. But since I'm a troll, y'all discount my art as just pissing people off. With that, a ton of fans have sided with them, arguing that plenty of artists have used Christian imagery in their work. Though, I don't know if the other post that Lil Nas X has posted since this has changed minds. Posting a TikTok of him speed eating the blood and body of Christ as Christ, a pic of him dressed as an angel holding guns, and a video of him going from the crucifixion to a transformer, I guess a Jesus Transformer crossover event.
Jesus
that was
Trans?
among other things like clips from his music video. In one, he's got lookalikes of famous people walking up to heaven. In another, he's just Moses. And so in addition to the fighting that one would expect, right, one side saying this is is disgusting. He's needlessly attacking so many people who follow a faith. Others challenging him, saying that he would not do this with Islam. And then on the other side, you have people saying, you know, it's fair game. Arguing things like, if you're tired of Lil Nas X taking aim at Christianity, then think about this. Christianity ain't tired of aiming at women, children, and gays. So are we gonna stand on business or not? Others arguing he might mock your religion, but that it's no different than you telling gay people that they'll burn in hell. And others arguing, as a gay teenager in the Bible Belt, hearing all the homophobic shit people spewed at him means he gets to fire back. But ultimately, we won't know until tomorrow how all of this is gonna pay off or fail, because that's when the music video releases. But before that, I gotta ask you some questions here. One, do you think this marketing campaign is gonna be effective? Do you think tomorrow is gonna be a boom or a bust? And then two, what are your thoughts about what he is doing? Right? Whether you consider it smart marketing and trolling and an engagement economy, or do you find it to be just disgusting and blasphemous? Any and all thoughts? I'd love to hear from you in those comments down below. And then, can X beat YouTube at video? Right now, sounds like the most ridiculous question you could ask. But what if you could steal and use YouTube's own golden boy against them, Mr. Beast? Because Elon wants him some Jimmy. And this is not a new thing. Right? Shortly after he took over, Elon was talking a big game, telling Jimmy X would actually be able to offer higher compensation for creators than YouTube. But Jimmy is like an insane person when it comes to online stuff. Probably one of the most knowledgeable people about the space. And he responded saying, I'd be shocked if you crack that code. And while X has rolled out an ad revenue model, the money is very much not YouTube money. But someone telling Mr. Beast to upload to X, Elon Musk saying, yeah. But then Jimmy responding, my videos cost millions to make, and even if they got 1 billion views on X, it wouldn't fund a fraction of it. I'm down though to test stuff once monetization is really cranking. And while some saw that and they were like, oh, Jimmy just dunked on Elon. Not really. All Jimmy did was speak facts. I mean, other big names in the space have also sounded off on this. Creators KSI and Logan Paul, for example. They said that Logan made $1,500 from X, despite that being from hundreds of millions of impressions, which, hey, money is great. But while the numbers shift, if you release a long form video on YouTube, depending on the niche or what kind of ads you're getting, that could be like $3,000 to $40,000. I might even be undercutting some of the people in the really specialized niches. And on TikTok, like if you're a part of their creator beta, you get 1 million views. It fluctuates a lot, but that could be $1,000. But that's not to say that X, like their ad system right now, that's where it will always be. And at least in some way, Elon is.
Sorry, pause for dinner.
For example, last year, Tucker Carlson announced his show on the platform. Just this week, we saw Don Lemon getting a show on X, as well as other shows hosted by former U.S. Representative Tulsi
The
Gabbard and
asteroid
sports
is
commentator
depleted.
Jim Rome. Elon also just announcing a pay hike for creators on X in the coming year. But right now, it remains to be seen what those moves are actually going to do for the platform. It's very early days, but we'll see. And then AI just brought George Carlin back from the dead, which as a fan is a sentence that disturbs me. Which also, I gotta remember, not everyone is my age. If you're unfamiliar, George Carlin is regarded as one of the most influential stand-up comedians of all time. And I think rightly so. You know, he passed away back in 2008, but there's this AI comedy podcast out there called Dudesy, and they put out an hour-long imitation stand-up special of George Carlin called I'm Glad I'm Dead, with his Dudesy AI opening the show by saying,
I just want to let you know very clearly that what you're about to hear is not George Carlin. It's my impersonation of George Carlin that I developed in the exact same way a human impressionist would. I listened to all of George Carlin's material and did my best to imitate his voice, cadence, and attitude, as well as the subject matter I think would have interested him today. So think of it like Andy Kaufman impersonating Elvis, or like Will Ferrell
Drive
impersonating
active.
George W. Bush.
and it then goes into the special, which uses a voice that sounds like George Carlin. And as far as the visuals, like it uses B-roll instead of an AI approximation of his face and body. Also with this, if you're like, what the fuck is Dudesy? Like, who are these randoms? It's actually hosted by Will Sasso and Chad Klutgen. And they let the Dudesy AI go through their work and personal messages to run the podcast. But, you know, with all this, you have a lot of people disturbed, with even George Carlin's own daughter tweeting, my dad spent a lifetime perfecting his craft from his very human life, brain, and imagination. No machine will ever replace his genius. Here's an idea. How about we give some actual living human comedians a listen to? But if you want to listen to the genuine George Carlin, he has 14 specials you can find anywhere. Others also slamming it, saying if Carlin was alive, he probably would have hated this. Saying things like, I genuinely don't understand how someone can claim to understand Carlin's comedy so well that they can replicate him with AI, but also not understand that George Carlin would have fucking despised them for being so creatively bankrupt and making us all culturally stupider. And for me personally, I agree with both that comment and Carlin's daughter. One, I think Carlin would have hated this. And two, especially if you're not familiar, I highly recommend going back and watching George Carlin specials. And then also three, I gotta add, like, I didn't know who the Chad guy was before, but I was kind of surprised that this came from Will Sasso. Like, it feels weird that another comedian, whether his spotlight has faded or not, would do this, especially because it appears to be like against the wishes of the family. Like, this just kind of seems like disgusting hack shit to me. But, you know, this is a Philip DeFranco show. Are you of this same mindset, or no? Do you see like what they're doing as like being on the bleeding edge of art or commentary and tech. Like, I'm trying to have an open mind on it. My gut says, fuck this bullshit. But whether you agree or disagree, I'd love to hear from you. And then we've got more news we need to talk about, but I gotta take a second to pay some bills. Because I want you to fast forward to the end of 2024. Have you thought about fun, helpful goals like learning a new language? And with that, like, what can you actually do right now to make that happen? Well, thanks to the sponsor of today's show, Babbel, they'll set you up for success. Because Babbel's known for helping you speak a new language in 3 weeks. Hell, think of where you'll be in 12 months. Or if you're, as my son says, a big brain, maybe you've got goals to learn multiple languages this year. Give some of these Europeans a run for their money. Especially because the feedback that I've been getting from people that I know is just how different this is from when they were in school. Because Babbel focuses on teaching you modern conversations that you can actually use in the real world. And it makes a difference that they use native speakers, not computers. And the dog part of my brain also enjoys the sound that it makes when I get it right. So y'all, don't pay hundreds of dollars for a private tutor or use language apps that are a little more than games. Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons are designed by over 150 language experts. And again, they're aimed to help you start speaking a new language in as little as 3 weeks. Best of all, they've given me a special limited time deal for you. To get you started right now, you can get 55% off your Babbel subscription. Only for you at babbel.com/DeFranco. That is 55% off at babbel.com/DeFranco. Spelled BABBEL.com/DeFranco. Rules and restrictions may apply. And then the weirdest and most mysterious thing keeps happening. Any Trump opponent, and that they're trying to or could hold Trump accountable, they for some weird reason keep getting threatened and swatted. With the most recent being this morning, when we got the news about Judge Arthur Engoron. He's overseeing the fraud trial against Trump in New York. He was swatted at his home after someone called in a fake bomb threat. And the timing here is also a key.
That's not going to
It
get
comes
him
the
out of
same
it.
day that closing arguments are set to take place in the case against Trump. And just a day after the judge rejected Trump's attempt to deliver his own closing arguments. Right, and that because Trump and his lawyers failed to agree to certain conditions that the judge had outlined in order for that to happen. So with that, we saw Trump take to Truth Social yesterday, targeting Judge Engoron, saying he was a Trump-hating judge, who was trying to screw him, calling the trial rigged and unfair. But also, this is just the latest in several similar incidents in recent weeks. I mean, just last week we had Tanya Chutkin. She's the judge overseeing the January 6th case against Trump. She got swatted at her home. You've also got sources saying that special counsel Jack Smith, where he's overseeing the prosecution in both federal cases against Trump, he was a target of an attempted swatting on Christmas. So there, luckily, police were called off because law enforcement officials already protecting Smith were able to tell them that it was a false alarm. And they're like, it's not real, we're prepared for this. And a few weeks ago, Maine Secretary of State Shanna Bellows was also swatted one day after she removed Trump from the ballot in her state. And that, as the FBI also recently confirmed, it was investigating violent threats against the Colorado Supreme Court justices who ruled in favor of removing Trump from the ballot there as well. And so far, we've only talked about the people involved in Trump's ongoing legal battles. You also have people like Rusty Bowers, for example, the former Speaker of the Arizona State House. He played a key role in fighting Trump's efforts to undo democracy in his state. He returned home the day after Christmas, found it surrounded by cops. Someone had said that there was a pipe bomb and a murdered woman inside. And last week, there was a swatting at the home of Gabriel Sterling, the chief operating officer for Georgia's Secretary of State's office. But unfortunately, none of this is surprising. I mean, all the people that we're talking about today are people that Trump has repeatedly targeted both online and publicly during speeches. The rhetoric escalating. And all of this as he now calls the people he incited who attacked our Capitol on January 6th, people who attacked Capitol police officers who tried to stop the peaceful transfer of power, hostages because they're being held accountable by the law. And there's no reason to believe that what he is...
Fucking nutball. You couldn't handle the presidency if you did get it again. You couldn't handle it the first time. Why are you trying again? Come on. God damn it, I can't believe we have like a Hitler in America now. It's so not good.
Saying what he is inciting or anything in the situation is going to calm down before election day. And then we've got big and controversial news playing out internationally right now. Because you had South Africa presenting their genocide case against Israel at the ICJ, the UN's top court, the International Court of Justice. And I also want to note this, it's very important. What we're talking about today is not the end of the story. Because you had South Africa presenting their arguments today. Israel has denied the allegations. The US Secretary of State has described the allegations as meritless. Though also notably, while he's trying to push for Israel to scale back their intensity, and Israel in this court will present their side tomorrow. But with all that said, it brings us to Adila Hassim. She's a lawyer representing South Africa. She laid out the country's case in explicit detail, going step by step down the UN's 1948 Genocide Convention Treaty, which defines genocide as an act committed with intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group. And that also including not just direct killing and maiming, but also forcing conditions where life isn't sustainable, preventing births, and forcing children to assimilate into different groups. And I'll largely just be hitting her highlights, so if you want to watch the full thing, I'm linking to it in the description. First and foremost, the lawyers for South Africa clearly condemned Hamas and its actions, saying,
South Africa unequivocally condemned the targeting of civilians by Hamas and other Palestinian armed groups and the taking of hostages on the 7th of October 2023.
I love their
regarding the
accent.
bombing of Gaza, Hassim said that this has been clear, calculated, and extensive.
The level of Israel's killing is so extensive that nowhere is safe in Gaza. As I stand before you today, 23,210 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli forces during the sustained attacks over the last 3 months. At least 70% of whom are believed to be women and children. In the first 3 weeks alone,
Oh, I forgot
following
something.
7 October, Israel deployed 6,000 bombs per week. At least 200 times, it has deployed 2,000-pound bombs
Warp drive
in
active.
southern areas of Palestine designated as safe. These bombs have also decimated the north, including refugee camps. 2,000-pound bombs are some of the biggest and most destructive bombs available.
But Hassim then also saying it's not just the bombing of Gazans.
Israel's conduct has been deliberately calculated to cause widespread hunger, dehydration, and starvation. Israel's campaign has pushed Gazans to the brink of famine. An unprecedented 93% of the population in Gaza is facing crisis levels of hunger.
She also went on to describe the alleged mass kidnappings of Gazans.
Large numbers of Palestinian civilians, including children, are arrested, blindfolded, forced to undress, and loaded onto trucks, taken to unknown locations.
Hassim then goes on to argue that even Israel's first evacuation order on October 13, which required the evacuation of over 1 million people, she says was genocidal.
Entire hospitals were required to evacuate even newborn babies in intensive care.
Oh
The
no, I
order
came back to
required them
get
to
gamma
evacuate
food.
the north
Yeah.
to the south within 24 hours. The order itself was genocidal. It required immediate movement, taking only what could be carried,
Elite, neat.
while
Are you
no
fucking
humanitarian
serious?
assistance was permitted, and fuel, water, and food, and other necessities of
God,
life
what's happening to
had
our
deliberately
culture
been
right in
cut
our
off.
front of our faces?
It was clearly calculated to bring about the destruction of the population.
Hassim also goes on to claim that Israel is intentionally forcing the collapse of the healthcare systems in Palestine.
Israel is blocking the delivery of life-saving aid, including essential medical
I should
kits
watch
for
this.
delivering babies. In circumstances where an estimated 180 women are giving birth in Gaza each day. Of these 180 women, the WHO warns that 15% are likely to experience pregnancy or birth-related complications and need additional medical care. That care is simply not available.
Now, with all this, again, I want to stress that Israel is going to respond in UN court tomorrow. With the AP reporting, as a sign of how seriously they regard the case, Israeli leaders have taken the rare step of engaging with the court to defend their international reputation, noting that Israel often boycotts international tribunals or UN investigations, saying they are unfair and biased. But with all this, we have gotten a glimpse of the country's rebuttal so far. An Israeli Foreign Ministry spokesman saying on Twitter, "Today we were witness to one of the greatest shows of hypocrisy in history, compounded by a series of false and baseless claims," calling the South African lawyers Hamas's representatives in the court and saying they ignored the fact that Hamas uses the civilian population in Gaza as human shields and operates from within hospitals, schools, UN shelters, mosques, and churches with the intention of endangering the lives of the residents of the Gaza Strip. And Prime Minister Netanyahu saying, "Today we saw an upside-down world. Israel is accused of genocide while it is fighting against genocide," saying Israel is fighting murderous terrorists who carried out crimes against humanity. But with all that said, I do want to note that a lot of what we're seeing play out over these next 48 hours, a lot of it has to do with pressure and public conversation. Because at the very top, there are two ways things could go. They lose, it's done, it's dead. But even if they win, there's a lot of buts. The first, which Reuters and the New York Times hit on, is that we are likely years away from a final rule. We did have a former UN chairman on a commission involving Israel's previous military operations in Gaza telling the New York Times, all that South Africa has to do to win a provisional measures order is convince the court that its charge of genocide is plausible. But even then, if the court does side with South Africa, give the AP reporting, although the court's findings are considered binding, it was unclear whether Israel would heed any order to halt the fighting. And noting if it doesn't, it could face UN sanctions, although those may be blocked by a US veto. And again, there's reason to believe that a veto would come in, because even before they presented their case today, John Kirby, the National Security Council spokesman, he had already denounced South Africa's case, calling it meritless, counterproductive, and completely without any basis in fact whatsoever. You know, as we wait to see what happens next, both the reactions and the fallouts to what we saw today, as well as Israel's presentation tomorrow, I gotta ask you, what are your thoughts on what we're seeing right now? And that is where today's show is going to end. But end things on a personal note. I want to say thank you again to everyone that's been coming back this 2024. This week we've been slowly overcoming YouTube penalizing us essentially for taking 3 weeks off. God forbid. So we've been slowly slipping back into more and more of y'all's recommended bars on YouTube. And you'll also be seeing the show grow and evolve, especially over these first few months. It's like yesterday, today, stuff like that. That'll be coming back. I just wanted this first week to be just as easy as possible with a number of changes that you might have seen if you got a keen eye. But thanks for being part of this. If you missed one of the other 3 shows from this week, I highly recommend it. I'll include clips here where I can, and I'll link in the description down below. But hey, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco.
It was
You've
great.
just been filled
Fucking
in. I
lovely.
love yo
Good
faces,
shit.
and I'll see you right back here on Monday.
World War III airstrikes. Yeah, we didn't listen to this one. I want to listen to it now.
Hey everyone, me Kevin here. This is breaking news. Right now, the United States, in coordination
Listen
with,
to this.
it looks like the United Kingdom, are striking targets in Yemen. It appears that airspace over Yemen has been cleared. You could see, as of about 30 minutes ago, no flights over Yemen territory, and now the United States has confirmed airstrikes are taking place against Houthi positions in Yemen. One of the locations these strikes is taking place is pictured here on screen. Obviously here you can see the Red Sea, you can see the border of Yemen here. We can see that this is one of the cities where strikes are taking place at the moment. These are clearly retaliation by the United States along with others through the joint operations to defend the Red Sea to retaliate against attacks on shipping vessels in the region. Well, here's some of the updates that we have going on. These are first of all, about 25 minutes ago, we got reports that unknown aircraft were entering Yemeni airspace from the north. So it looks like there is potentially a launch of a force from American bases in Saudi Arabia, and they crossed the border from approximately this region here to target locations within Yemen. The White House has reported that congressional leaders have been made aware of strikes against the Houthi terrorist group, and that they will begin very soon. That was 15 minutes ago. However, and then about 7 minutes ago, we got an update that sources in various different cities in Yemen are reporting evacuations at Houthi camps and military bases around the city, as well as convoys and heavy equipment on the move out of potential target areas. Obviously, I suspect F-35s are a little faster than trucks, but a little bit of a poop storm breaking out right now over in Yemen. U.S. and British airstrikes have begun, confirmed 4 minutes ago, near one of the cities that I've described here on the map, Airport City. We have more information coming in now. Over a dozen Houthi facilities in western Yemen are presently being targeted by both U.S. and British aircraft. And so that's going to be various different cities along the coastal region here. So certainly if you're in the coastal region of Yemen, I would recommend finding shelter. It looks pretty, I mean, it does look like right now the targets range from training facilities to military bases, potentially anti-air missile sites, as well as anti-ship sites, basically anywhere where rockets have potentially been launched from to attack shipping vessels. Multiple airstrikes are now targeting the Yemeni capital. So it looks like the airstrikes are going as deep as Sana'a here, which is actually off the coast. So somewhat a little bit more surprising. We've got reports now that, let's see, significant activity, try to get some more here, by U.S. and British combat aircraft reported over western Yemeni airspace. Several more explosions along the Yemeni coast near these cities have been heard. U.S. officials have now confirmed they've begun airstrikes against Houthi targets. to some extent, this is somewhat necessary in responding to people attacking our shipping lanes. However, on the flip side, we also have this risk factor of lighting a tinderbox in the region and potentially facing retaliation from Iran or Houthis. As a matter of fact, The Guardian this morning did prepare for this by indicating that Britain and the U.S. are poised to launch strikes against Houthi military targets in Yemen. That is ongoing right now. Western defense sources have indicated preparations were intensifying on Thursday in response to a Houthi attack of 21 missiles and drones aimed at U.S. and U.K. warships Tuesday night. Asked about a potential U.S. strike, which is now occurring, John Kirby said, "I'm not going to telegraph our punches one way or another. We're going to do what we have to counter and defeat these threats that the Houthis keep throwing up on commercial ships in the Red Sea." Finally, honestly, I mean, I will say this Red Sea stuff has been going on now for probably somewhere around 6 to 8 weeks. I mean, certainly as early as the counter response into Gaza by Israel, but more pressingly within the last month. I'm now getting reports from Refinitiv that the United States and Britain have indeed started launching their strikes against Houthi targets in Yemen. The Houthi officials are now posting that there are enemy raids going on right now in Sana'a, which again is the capital. At least three explosions have been heard in the capital of Yemen. We are... looking for some more insight here. Okay, here we go. What is this? Two U.S. officials in the U.K. are now striking Iranian-backed Houthis inside Yemen in response to attacks on the warships. Yeah, seen that. Yeah, a lot of reaction here is about damn time. Well, yeah, no kidding. It's why, I mean, how many times does Burks need to say, all right, I guess we're not shipping again? We've got, yeah, looks like quite a bit of U.S. activity. F-35s were prepping over the last couple of days here in the region, so we think some of our most sophisticated weaponry in the air over there. We've got a little bit more of a heads up here from The Guardian that on Wednesday, Anthony Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State, said there will be consequences following the Houthi attack, while the British Defense Secretary Grant Shapps told journalists to watch this space. Here's a map showing examples of Houthi rebels boarded from, basically Houthi rebels using a helicopter to board a specific ship called the Galaxy Leader. That was November 19th. That was just shows you on a map here as an example of, what this might look like. Someone here says B-2 bombers spotted flying in the United Arab Emirates. Wow. Air attacks have indeed started. Yeah, from what we can tell here, air attacks have begun. Trying to see if I can get any kind of footage out there. So that's what I'm looking for right now, to see if we can get a little bit of color on what we can see. But it does look like these attacks are taking off right now. I don't know that any of the mainstream media is covering any of this yet. I've been flipping around between, the usual MSNBC, Fox, and otherwise, so I don't have video footage yet here. But it does look like this is escalating. We now have a Houthi stronghold city in Taiz, in the western city of Yemen, has now been also targeted. This is obviously quite breaking and has the substantial risk of causing more and further escalation in the region. Vladimir Putin is warning against American and English foolishness in Yemen. Some people are responding, suggesting the U.S. should just get out of the Red Sea.
Not a bad
don't
suggestion.
mind the trade route, I suppose. If they own it, maybe nobody should use the Red Sea. Anyway. Of course, this is amplifying the debate over Palestine and Israel. And there are a lot of folks on one side who say, look, just because the Israeli Defense Forces are conducting their strikes within Gaza, which has led to a lot of child loss of life, women loss of life, and a lot of terrible atrocities there. This idea that somebody's disagreement with what's going on in the Gaza Strip, which by all means is horrible, should not give somebody a license to attack U.S. Ships carrying cargo or U.S. warships, and if somebody does, there would be consequences. And so it does look like there are those consequences occurring now. Yeah, multiple airstrikes now in Sana and Taiz reported. Looking for a little bit more so we can get a bit more color here on exactly what's going on. Yeah, looks like Parliament to reconvene to approve U.S. airstrikes on Yemen. The UK is bombing Yemen tonight without bothering to have Parliament approve it.
Of course not.
Keep in mind, usually you have these war power acts where within
Usually you have these fascists fucking walking all over our goddamn fucking rules.
In the United States, we're at 60 days via the War Powers Act.
60 days.
Still no footage or information from the region. It looks like I'm just now getting a photo in. This post says it's since been deleted, so I'm not sure if this is an accurate post or what this is, but here's what looks like. Potentially one of the photos from the scene. Looking for a little bit more information. Yeah, airstrikes by U.S. and British aircraft have so far targeted the cities of Hodeidah? Hodi? I don't know how to pronounce that. Taiz, Zabid, and Sana. I probably don't know how to pronounce any of these. But anyway, that's what's being reported right now. Again, as retaliation for strikes against shipping vessels in the region. You can see the diversion of flights here, how very clearly, the diversion of flights, how very clearly flights are avoiding Yemen. Makes sense given the airstrikes going on now. Here's what looks like another photo from an unverified source here. But we can see what looks like an explosion there in the distance. Again, uncertain about the source of this. Houthis getting bombed. Multiple explosions in Yemen now reporting through from some of these African publications and Middle Eastern publications in the region. Looks like... It looks like several different cities are the target. Specifically the Houthi strongholds. Go into a little bit more of the prep we got this morning from The Guardian. The leader of the Houthi group said on Thursday that if struck, the Houthis would fight back. It does look like the U.S. has started preparing its weapons in the area for potential retaliatory strikes, whether those are Patriot missile defense systems or otherwise. Any American attack will not remain without a response. The response will be greater than the attack that was carried out with 20 drones and a number of missiles. This is the Houthi party essentially addressing this. They say we are more than determined to target ships linked to Israel, and we will not back down from that. There's a lot of talk that actually shipping vessels carrying oil have not been as affected as potentially the goods market. Yeah, looking for a bit more here. So going through... Yeah, okay. Alright, this is all just sort of breaking now, so we're trying to figure this out. Yeah, 3 large explosions being heard in the capital of Yemen as the bombing begins. Oh boy. Rishi Sunak's cabinet, he survived or beat Lettucehead. Who remembers Lettucehead? Anyway, Rishi's cabinet was meeting virtually on Thursday evening amid expectations of the UK involvement in imminent military strikes. Biden also canceled his press conference for later today. There was an address expected, and that has now been canceled in favor of probably keeping a situational eye on airstrikes presently taking place in Yemen. Experts believe the US, UK, and other Western allies are most likely to target coastal radar and launch sites. Well, we thought it would be coastal, but it's also going into Sanaa, the capital. One added any intervention with fraught with risk, right? Yeah, this is a little bit more of a heads up here. But I will say, it's nice that maybe this will actually motivate some stability in the Red Sea, because, you know, look at that. You get a hot inflation report today, and some people blaming disruptions in December on the Houthi group. How politically popular is inflation going to be at the moment? Well, not. Very politically unpopular. So just the activity of responding here appears to be very important. Yeah, multiple photos now. Looks like the Houthis, one of the Houthi generals has released a statement arguing, in the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful message of the Mujahideen on the West Coast. And may peace be upon you for your sons and brothers, the Mujahideen, and God's mercy and blessings. Praise be God, Lord of worlds, the supporter of the oppressed, and the vanquisher of tyrants and the arrogant. As we engage in the battle of promised conquest and holy jihad, we renew our pledge to God and you, to be in your hands the sword of God, in which you may take the tyrants and the arrogant among them. Ooh, yikes. So, the practical questions now as these strikes begin are, as there are multiple strikes taking place now, carried out by, wow, okay, U.S. officials are now telling Reuters that these strikes are being carried out by not just aircraft, but also by ships and submarines. I thought it.
Hi there, major breaking news we're following right now. A United States official tells CNN the U.S. military has carried out strikes on multiple Houthi targets in Yemen. I want to bring in our team for more information.
Finally, they get to it.
You're joining us from the Pentagon. Let's get the latest from you first. This is a big deal if the U.S. is attacking targets inside Yemen. The Houthis are, of course, backed by Iran. This war could be escalating big time.
The U.S. and the U.K., to a large extent, have been telegraphing the fact that if attacks on commercial shipping lanes in the Red Sea, a critical waterway, continued, the U.S. would be compelled to act. We are now seeing those actions take place in real time. A U.S. official telling CNN that the U.S. is hitting multiple targets in Yemen controlled by the Houthis. We have seen reports of explosions in major western Yemenite cities like Al-Hudaydah and several other cities there. That the likely result of these U.S. strikes, the strikes carried out by U.S. fighter jets as well as Tomahawk missiles. Those are land attack missiles launched from Navy vessels. There's also an expectation, based on comments we've seen from the UK, that they might be a part of these strikes as well. Crucially, this is not a strike on a single location. These are multiple targets, and apparently based on reports of explosions from Yemen across multiple cities. The U.S. very much trying to send a message as it works to deter further attacks on commercial shipping lanes, attacks that have forced some major shipping companies to entirely avoid the Red Sea, adding thousands of miles to shipping routes. It is because of this threat, the shipping, that the U.S. set up Operation Prosperity Guardian with more than 20 other countries to defend the shipping lanes, but that was purely defensive. This is an offensive operation targeting the Houthis in Yemen. The Houthis had vowed that they would respond to any sort of U.S. aggression with an even greater response. We saw them just on Tuesday launch 21 drones and missiles that were intercepted by U.S. and UK destroyers and aircraft. So you see over the course of the last 48, 72 hours, a potential major escalation in the Red Sea and the southern Red Sea. Again, the U.S. now carrying out strikes in Yemen using fighter jets as well as Tomahawk missiles against Houthi targets. They had warned this was a possibility. Wolf, we are very much seeing that possibility play out as we speak.
This war could be expanding big time right now. MJ Lee, you're over at the White House for us. Has the
bonds right now down about 1.3 basis points. Oil jumping right now about 2%.
commented yet, but I think it is worth noting how significant this action is, given that the U.S. had very much hoped that things would not devolve to this point. This has been a huge priority for the administration to essentially try to keep things in the Middle East contained and not have a broader regional
War in the Middle
conflict,
East?
given
Yeah,
the
I would
existing
say it is.
volatility in the region. It has also been a priority for the administration to not disturb the current truce in the Yemen civil war. Now, this action that we are now reporting out of the Pentagon clearly signals that the situation in the Red Sea has become completely intolerable for the U.S. and its allies. And we did see a bit of a turning point last week when a U.S. official said, following the weeks and weeks of provocations and the attacks from the Houthis in the Red Sea on these shipping vessels, that they were essentially giving the last warning, that there would not be another warning. And so given that we have seen these attacks and these provocations continue, in some ways, we were very much preparing for a different kind of response from the U.S. and its allies. Again, we haven't gotten an official word from the White House, but Wolf, as Oren was saying, given the significance of this kind of action by the U.S. In Yemen, we should expect to hear from the president in some way tonight. Wolf.
A very significant development indeed. Colonel Layton, you're our military analyst. These strikes certainly do carry a real risk of escalation right now. Give us your reaction.
Yeah, well, the big situation here with these strikes is that, first of all, they are going to hit some of the targets. As Oren mentioned, Hodeidah, the main port in western Yemen, is a highly likely target. There are a lot of anti-aircraft and anti-ship missiles that are located in that area. As far as the escalation, the possibilities of escalation are concerned, what can happen here is that the Houthis are going to respond first to the ships, the U.S. ships and British ships in the Red Sea. Then they could possibly target installations in Saudi Arabia. That could very much inflame tensions throughout the southern Arabian Peninsula at this particular point. So I think we're going to see some major activity in the next 24 hours or so.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Oren, I know the U.S. had sought to avoid this escalation, this development, but it's clearly happening as we speak right now. And I know the U.S. was prepared for this. There's a U.S. aircraft carrier battle group not too far away, right?
Correct. The USS Dwight D. Eisenhower is, I believe at this point, in the Red Sea, if not very close by. There are some 4 U.S. destroyers in the Red Sea. There's a British destroyer there as well. In addition, I believe other warships from other countries, those part of Operation Prosperity Guardian, to try to protect international shipping there. But it's exactly these kinds of ships you need to shoot Houthi launches out of the sky, and these same types of ships that can use, for example, Tomahawk missiles to carry out strikes on land targets. It is worth noting that we can now say senior administration officials briefed congressional leadership that earlier today that these strikes were imminent.
Right.
So
this is what we did cover a little bit ago. I just want to get some other quick updates here. We got these strikes are potentially missiles that are being launched not only from the warships but the submarines. So basically surfacing submarines, and they're launching missiles from the submarines. I mean, think about how eerie that would be if you were in the coastal town and then, oh, hello, start seeing the rockets come up. But anyway, yeah, I'll put up a screen here in a moment, too, of the ships that are in the area.
Gulf of Oman earlier today.
Yeah, very, very significant. Looks like this war, as I said, is escalating big time. And Colonel Layton, as you know, this aircraft carrier battle group has a lot of warplanes ready to go if given the order. What do you think?
Here's, I think, a decent source on this, by the way. You could see Operation Prosperity Garden partners and the ships that are present there, the various different ships, part of the flotilla.
On board the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, they are going to be used to strike targets that are more complex than what you would normally strike with a Tomahawk missile. Some of the areas that they might strike would include radar installations. They will also probably go after some of the command and control nodes that the Houthis have. So that is basically what we're looking at here. See, I think, a lot of activity in the northern part of Yemen and in the western part, which are the areas that the Houthis currently control.
I want to bring in CNN's chief national security correspondent, Alex Marquardt. He's getting more information. Tell us more about the U.S. allies, their involvement in what's going on. Alex?
Well, Wolf, it was a major consideration in carrying out the military operation that we are now seeing unfold that the U.S. not do this alone. There is a belief that the British would also have a hand in this and potentially others as well. The U.S. really wanted to have global support when it came to retaliating against the Houthi rebels in Yemen. You have this coalition of 22 countries, Operation Prosperity Guardian, that was set up late last year in order to protect ships in the Red Sea. And then just last week, the U.S. and other countries warning of consequences to the Houthis if they continue to carry out attacks against commercial shipping in the Red Sea. That was a warning that was issued by the White House alongside 11 other countries. Wolf, there was a real sense that this was imminent as soon as that statement was put out. A senior administration official saying that there would not be another warning. We have seen several attempted attacks and attacks by the Houthis in the past few days, and here we are seeing the response. So as Oren and the Colonel have been alluding to, the question now is what do the Houthis do? What does Iran do in reaction to tonight's strikes? We heard from a senior Houthi leader just earlier today who said that they would confront America and make it kneel down. I've been told by numerous U.S. officials that it is clear that Iran's hand is clear in all of these operations and attacks that the Houthis carry out. So, of course, there's a real concern over what Iran will do here. I will tell you, the U.S. officials don't think that Iran necessarily wants to escalate and open up any kind of full-scale war or major front with Iran, but they're certainly eager to stir the pot. So what we're seeing here now is an attempt to de-escalate the situation, essentially give the Houthis a bloody nose and give them a message to back down and stop carrying out these operations in the Red Sea, Wolf.
You know, I'm just curious, Oren, you're there at the Pentagon. Clearly an operation like this would have been planned for some time. You don't just go ahead and expand this war. And it comes as the Defense Secretary, Lloyd Austin, is apparently still in the hospital. Update us on that and the connection, if any, to what's going on.
A lot of people really upset that he kept that a secret, by the way, that he was in the hospital. There was a point where apparently Biden says he didn't even know that his defense secretary was in the hospital, which was crazy.
Hours, perhaps not even in the coming days here. So the Pentagon has been adamant, and so has the White House, that Austin can do his job from Walter Reed. It is a military medical center that has the facilities necessary to conduct secure communications, and this, effectively, is their opportunity to prove it. Now, we don't know yet his extent of involvement. Is he able to monitor this in real time? What are the communications like between him and the president at this time? Was this strike pre-authorized? In other words, did he have to give a final sign-off while in the hospital? These are all, frankly, questions that we have right now. The bottom line is this entire process, and the national security perspective, was able to move forward.
So, Alex, what should we be looking for?
Okay, by the way, a lot of the photos that we're getting aren't actually, like, some people are starting to use photos from other conflicts and wars, so it's really difficult right now to figure out what actual footage is real relative to now. But what we do know is that airstrikes are taking place. So if you're just now joining, airstrikes have been taking place. They've been targeting cities.
Docking request
and again,
accepted.
I've never pronounced these in my life, but cities like Hobada, Taiz, Zabid, as well as the capital, Zana. Anyway, the capital of Yemen. Okay, so we've got a lot going on. At least 4 different cities hit so far. And we can see those here on a map, just so you can see those a little bit better. We'll throw those up here. So we're getting coastal attacks on the side here, but we're also going as far inland as the capital here. So a lot of strikes. Again, we believe these air strikes were launched not only potentially from the aircraft carrier that we have, the Eisenhower aircraft carrier, but also potentially from airports in Saudi Arabia, where U.S. defensive weapons are also now on high alert for retaliation. Let's go get a slightly, let's see what they're talking about here. Hold on.
Do begin out front tonight with the breaking news. United States striking the
Zana. Okay, thank you.
A U.S. official telling CNN that right now the U.S. military is carrying out strikes with fighter jets and Tomahawk missiles on Yemen. Their target, Iranian-backed militia Houthis. And these strikes come after an emergency cabinet meeting in the United Kingdom, America's closest ally. To be clear, these strikes in the Middle East are very significant. The United States is now finally taking action, and it could change the Israel-Hamas war into something much bigger. The Houthis have been relentlessly attacking ships in the Red Sea since November. Reports today of another attack, the 27th by the group in the area under 2 months, according to the Pentagon. Now, the Houthis are already vowing to retaliate to any strikes. The senior member moments ago saying, and I quote, "We will confront America, make it kneel down and burn its battleships and all its bases and everyone who cooperates with it, no matter the cost." And as we said, a very significant moment here, the United States launching multiple strikes in Yemen tonight. So much to get to with this breaking development. I want to start with MJ Lee out front live outside the White House. And MJ, a tense situation tonight. It is, of course, the darkest hours of the night, just coming before dawn in Yemen, and now a series of strikes. What are you learning?
Yeah, Aaron, we are certainly waiting for that official word from the White House on these attacks in Yemen against these Houthi positions. But U.S. official telling me and confirming that this isn't just the U.S. military, but these are actions that are being taken with other countries, including the U.K. What we should make clear is that U.S. officials have telecast in recent days very clearly that the situation in the Red Sea had become intolerable and unacceptable. And in recent days, U.S. officials had gone as far as to say that they were issuing their final warnings to the Houthis. So it was certainly expected that in the coming days, given that the Houthi provocations and the attacks had continued on these shipping vessels in the Red Sea, that some kind of a different response could be coming again from the U.S. And its allies. Now, striking in Yemen is something that the U.S. had hoped that it could very much avoid. This was almost a last resort situation, given that the U.S. is so set on trying to prevent the situation in the Middle East from escalating. They also just do not want to disturb the current truce in the Yemen civil war. But again, I think it's very much expected, given the gravity of the situation and the significance of this action by the U.S. and others, that we should be hearing in some form from the president directly later this evening, Aaron.
All right. Thank you very much, MJ Lee.
Yeah, the escalation risk here is pretty huge, mostly because there's going to be some kind of retaliation. Every time something like this happens, civilians end up getting hit as well. I would pretty much say almost every single time.
Oh, damn it.
And the problem is then you get responses. And at one point, does Iran potentially get involved in this?
What a ripoff was
hopefully
that?
never, but this is a tinderbox, and this is how in the Middle East you can start World War III. I mean, I just met with Ark Invest, Brett Whitten, and I asked him, I go, what's the risk for 2024? He goes, something's going to break. He's not very optimistic about something not breaking, and war could be a way of pushing our economy to the edge or to across the level of breaking.
For more than 12, I should say, different sites in Yemen belonging to the Houthis. Those targets included radar sites, as well as storage and launch sites for ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and UAVs. That's significant because it's those three types of weapons that the Houthis have used to target international shipping in the Red Sea, obviously one of the world's most critical waterways. So the US and the UK very much trying to send a message here that this needs to stop. We have seen, according to the US, 27 times where the Houthis have launched attacks on shipping in the Red Sea. At first, they were trying to target ships that had some sort of connection to Israel, either coming or going from, or part ownership. But according to the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet, which operates in the region, many of the last dozen attacks had no connection at all to Israel. The U.S. feeling compelled, because of the threats to international shipping, to set up Operation Prosperity Guardian and protect shipping in the Red Sea. But that was purely defensive. This obviously goes well beyond that. After multiple warnings to both the Houthis and to Iran, the Houthis, of course, an Iranian proxy, that these attacks had to stop, the U.S. and the U.K. feeling compelled to take action here. So again, more than a dozen targets struck, including radar systems, as well as storage and launch platforms and sites for ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and UAVs. And the U.S. using not just fighter jets, but also surface ships and submarines to carry out what appears.
Also, keep in mind, the White House apparently and reportedly gave Congress members about a 15-minute heads up that these reports were about to begin. We did see Yemeni airspace clear out, and not only did Yemeni airspace clear out before this, but then there were reports of aircraft entering that were not showing up on flight radars.
Brock Ravid is our political and global affairs analyst, and retired U.S. Army Major General James Spider Marks also joins me. So, General, here we are, finally, 27 strikes on shipping, many of them U.S. ships targeted. The U.S. now tonight responding, hitting more than a dozen Houthi targets in Yemen. Houthis, of course, an Iranian-backed militia, Iranian proxy. And coming from the air, coming from under the sea, coming from ships on the sea. Your reaction?
I think it's well overdue. The timing of this is important.
Yes.
The United States has previously been very, very precise in its attack against the Houthis. It's kind of been a tit for tat. This is an escalation, and I think that's a...
Yeah, this is like what Israel did to Gaza, what's turning into that potentially, which is bad.
That I think this would exceed, certainly at a minimum, would meet those prescriptions for proportionality. And you have to go after, as Oren has just reported, both the archers as well as the arrows in military terms. Go after the inventory, go after the capabilities, go after the leadership, go after the launch capabilities as well. That's what we're seeing right now. And important, the message needs to be there's no sanctuary for the Houthis where they are in Yemen. The only sanctuary that exists is within the border of Iran. Nobody's going to conduct operations across the border into Iran. But the Houthis need to understand, unacceptable, this needs to be a crushing blow.
Well, that's the crucial question, Barack. Is it a crushing blow? Obviously, there's a statement being made in the fact that there's an emergency cabinet meeting in the UK, and the UK is involved, and it's more than a dozen targets, and it's coming from 3 different sources. There's a statement being made there. But how will it be received?
Well, it's definitely not a crushing blow. It's a beginning. It's a first step.
Yeah, well, we also don't know how long this is going to keep going and what kind of retaliation there's going to be. So, I don't know. Of course, it's too soon to talk about a crushing blow. But the question is, the crushing just started, bro. How do you know? Come on, man.
And they're going to respond. It's pretty clear. They said that they're going to respond. They will do it. And now the question is, how far will they go? Will they just attack U.S. vessels in the Red Sea, or are they going to start?
I'm more worried about how far we're going to go.
That's the question here. So the statement from the senior member of the Houthis tonight, and this statement came just before we learned the strikes were launched. So there was anticipation that it was going to happen. You know, we knew about the cabinet meeting. We knew it was imminent, and then they happened. The quote, "We will confront America, make it kneel down, and burn its battleships and all its bases and everyone who cooperates with it, no matter the cost."
Yeah, we've heard the same quote like 4 times. Let's jump in over here for a moment.
Confirm the 2 U.S. officials telling us that the U.S. and the U.K. have already begun these strikes. But this comes after, the National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby earlier today warned the Houthis of any attacks on any ships. And of course,
I've told
the
you to
White House
stop
has
doing
repeatedly issued that warning, but up until now, really hadn't had much of an effect. Now, the U.S. and the U.K. have been considering this for some time, and the U.S. Had already responded by shooting down missiles and drones in the region. The U.S. Navy also recently sank Houthi boats that had fired on commercial ships. But this is an escalation going to these land-based targets. Again, we don't have confirmation on exactly how many targets were hit. We expect to learn more from that in just a short time from the White House. But again, no confirmation yet, official confirmation from the National Security Council. But the breaking news, Ari, as you've been reporting, that those two U.S. officials do confirm that these strikes are underway inside Yemen. But we've been
Yeah, no kidding. Well, not only that, I want you to see this. There's now talk about the U.S. bases, a U.S. ship being attacked, and potentially U.S. bases currently under attack in Iraq by Iranian-backed sources. This is per the Iran Observer. Let's look at that. Iran Observer. Let's see if we can try to get a little bit of intel over here. Iran Observer. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. So I don't know how credible this Iranian news company here is, whatever this is. Breaking: U.S. bases are under attack in Iraq. Well, it says by Iraqi resistance forces. Okay, well, that's a little different. Yemen launched cruise missiles towards U.S. Navy ships 21 minutes ago. I'm not, again, sure if we can verify any of this. Yemenis have launched dozens of ballistic missiles towards several targets. Airstrikes on Yemen capital. I do think I have some footage now that is coming through that seems legitimate of some of the airstrikes on the capital in Yemen. So stand by for that. Here we go. Wow.
Okay, guys. So I'm gonna close out Rust here, and it'll be as if I never even was there. And I suppose I want to look at the player list real quick.
Your skill has increased.
Before I go. Yeah, I want to list. I want to see the players list. Oh, that was Gringers, huh? Gringers came to my server, huh? That's cool, Gringers. I like Gringers. Yeah. I guess I'll.
Your skill has increased.
The Tiger, because he's losing. I better get like a blink up. Fuck,
Your skill has increased.
I gotta bail. But before I do, get on the spider. And then give me that target, yep. Look, where am I? Oh, okay. So many fucking goblins. I know it's lower next door, so we'll go next door. I think this place is a little too high, but next door might be okay. The Beatles, as I recall. They're okay. Hell, I got away. I pulled a lot of goblins. I could have present powdered, I suppose, but... He's summoning the wrong pet. At least I lived. That's good. Okay, now that we have stopped Rust, I will begin streaming right now. Well, like pretty much start right now, and we will go and play some. I will kill the music, and we will switch up titles here. We're gonna get rid of it, and oh yep, and then take me to the ice. Yeah, warp, and yep, and then okay,
Warp
we're going
drive
live,
active.
and this will be Fallout 4, EvE mining and vids. FFXI. Horizon. Fallout 4, EvE mining, FFXI, Horizon, and there we are. Okay. Oh no, that's a very old date. I don't know why that's so old, but okay. Change that, and then we say da da da. Change that, and we say, oh no, that's wrong. 1/12/24. Yeah, I would say that's about right. Done, and so. Nice, and get to work. Okay, and then we will reload this. Reload that once we are public, and then we go gaming will be EvE online, and then we will save WoW EvE, no Rust, no Fallout 76. It's WoW, EvE, and FFXI Horizon, right? Yep. There we go, and we save. And we will load some music, maybe. Okay, privacy is private. I didn't want it private, I wanted it public. Done. Save, and then we will fire up you.
The
We will
asteroid
come
is
verify
depleted.
This. Ah, very good. Good, then we're gonna go live here. How long is, oh, connecting. Okay, good. I think we'll come back in 5 minutes. Right now it's yep, it's 2 a.m. We're gonna go to work for a while. I am gonna pause here and have a bite of ice cream for dessert. That'll be fun. And I need to make sure that Eve is up and doing everything well. Nope. So there we go. No, this place is too high for me, I think. I'm just gonna go back. It's good to see. I'm recalling a place with...
And that's at least 3. Yikes. All right, let's keep listening here.
Putting our personnel at great risk. So that appears to be what this attack was about, is a defensive attack, but is reaching in to attack those forces before they attack us. That's number one. Number two is making sure that we don't let this escalate into a broader conflict, so that it's proportional, that it's controlled, that we're looking very closely at what Iran is doing.
Okay, David Sachs just tweeted, at a time when the U.S. is plunging into another Middle East war and radical groups throughout the region would like to retaliate against us, it's a good thing we have an airtight border so no terrorists can get in. RIP. Okay. U.S. military officials say strikes against Yemen, Yemen's Houthis have successfully hit their targets. So I wonder if that's an implication that the attack is, or the mission is complete at this point. I'm not sure if this is a get in and get out. Trying to get more information on exactly this. We'll listen in here for a moment.
America make it kneel down and burn its battleships tonight.
Dude, she's quoting the same quote again.
Do you, Congressman, take that seriously? Do you think they have the ability to do any sort of an action that would cause this to escalate into something significantly bigger?
Well, I don't take seriously those who are mounting criticism saying that we should strike back, that we should be more aggressive, nor do I take those folks seriously on the other side, the terrorists and the Houthis that are saber-rattling and saying things that they don't have the capability to do. The simple fact of the matter is these are challenging things. That's why you have clear-eyed, smart, intelligence, national security professionals of the administration making sure that we are smart, that we have a proportionate response, that we are defending ourselves, but we're not escalating either. And that takes calculation, that takes intelligence, that takes the ability to look at the various streams of intelligence and risk that we are facing, and that we're responding in a proportional way. So that's what they're doing. I have a great confidence in this administration to do that in the right and reasonable way.
And have you gotten any briefing for them or understanding about where this is? You hear more than a dozen targets. Is that your understanding of that's it? And then you see what they do, and then there's going to be more? Or what's your understanding about where we are in this?
Well, I sit on the House Intelligence Committee, and the House Intelligence Committee is briefed regularly on the conflict in the Middle East, the threat from Iranian proxies, Iranian militias, Houthi militias, and everything going on in Gaza as well. So we pay very close attention to this. These strikes, of course, just happened, so we haven't been briefed on the specifics of these strikes, but I expect that we will be in the days ahead.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time, Congressman.
Okay, I'm hearing now airstrike sirens potentially being reported from the U.S. Embassy compound in the international green zone of Baghdad. So in other words, attacks being launched on America in multiple different areas now, including initial reports here of potentially a barrage of anti-ship missiles being launched against the U.S. warships in the region. This is potentially a, obviously it's a counterattack, but there is a report here that potentially one U.S. ship may have been hit at this point. Still waiting to get some more footage from the region, but does look like U.S. bases or embassies or otherwise may be getting hit in retaliation. Let's keep listening in here.
Launching as the U.S. carried out a strike along with the U.K. on more than a dozen or so targets in Yemen. So interesting that now, too, we learn about the operations of a U.S. submarine as it relates to this very significant moment and this significant attack, Aaron.
Oren, thank you very much. And Barack Ravid, Major General Spider Marks are back.
Let's pop for a moment just to see if we can get another perspective. Okay, yeah, not from Forensic Files. Sorry, it was supposed to be the other way.
Was pointing out some of the chaos that we're seeing in the country right now, not just domestically, but internationally. And this is a really serious situation. I mean, it's a serious situation that the Houthis have been bombing shipping routes, and that affects so many things. Something needs to be done about this. But we've also been in conflict, either in a proxy way or otherwise, with these people for quite some time now. This is the third administration. And you want to have good communication with the American people. You also want to do things in a constitutional manner. And again, Biden is not the first president to violate what the Constitution says about how Congress should be involved when launching airstrikes. But this is a good example of why Congress should be involved, because we do need to think about, to the point that...
What's next?
Yeah, well, and also how we're going to deal with this. Being involved in a global conflict in multiple parts...
When we're broke.
Yes, and it matters to people, and how we do it matters, and it doesn't seem like a lot of our defense industry or that our...
Okay, so I'm just hearing now that the Pentagon says it may have... by the way, I'm throwing these updates as my sort of like little notepad on ehack.com. If you want to see them there, go to ehack.com. And then that way you can catch up. So if you're just now joining this, you could type ehack.com. You should see it there. And all the updates that we have there so far, just so you can get caught up to speed. But we're hearing that the Pentagon's saying they've bombed 10 targets in Yemen, including a UAV production facility, unmanned aerial vehicle. Waiting to get some more content here, or updates rather.
2 to 3 weeks. I think the White House was very hesitant when the Pentagon first brought the initial plans for a military retaliation to what the Houthis have been doing since mid-November. And U.S. officials told me in recent days that what was important to the White House was first to try and mobilize some sort of an international coalition so that it won't be seen as the U.S. going at
oil up 1.7%.
UK. And behind the U.S. and UK strike are at least 24 other countries that are involved in this task force in the Red Sea,
Yes.
and that signed this statement warning the Houthis. So I think this was the main point, to start this airstrike after you have some sort of international support for it. And we also saw the Security Council resolution just yesterday condemning the Houthis, calling them to stop those missile strikes. And now we saw those airstrikes. And one interesting thing that I hear now from Israeli officials is that they got an early notice from the U.S. About this operation in Yemen, and now they are preparing for some sort of a retaliation from Yemen
Yes.
against Israel, not only against U.S. forces in the region.
And Barack, you just said 2 or 3 times there in that sentence a word we haven't said so far, but is at the core of all of this in general. That's Israel, right? This is all happening because of the conflict between Israel and Hamas in Gaza, and yet you had America and the UK striking an Iranian-backed group in Yemen, and the response of that group is, we will confront America, make it kneel down and burn its battleships.
Here's a little bit of video footage from what looks like the impact of a Tomahawk cruise missile. Tough to see. Intense. Yeah, it's the same clip there a few times. Okay.
Very, very clear. Nor should we be surprised by any declaration by the Houthis or by Iran, which means Israel now is at greater risk. I mean, this isn't a black swan event. This is a white swan swimming in a pond of white swans. This is totally predictable.
Yeah.
This needs to be done, and we understand the cost.
Barack, I want to play for you some video that we just have in of one of these strikes. This is, well, we're going to get it in a moment. I'll explain what it is. When we get it, I'll play it. But we do have video coming in of a strike, Barack, north of Sana'a, of course, the capital of the Sana'a, Yemen, in the Sana'a province. So we're going to show that as soon as we get it. But that will show, here it is. So you go ahead and watch this, Barack, show that we actually have video of these. Obviously, this is taken from the ground because you can hear the dogs.
Okay, the airstrikes just ended, apparently.
Pull plumes of smoke and fires. Looks like it's being shot on a, basically like on an iPhone, up and down. That's in Sana'a province. Barack, take a look at this and tell me what you see. Again, I want to emphasize this isn't coming from the UK or the US, in the actual strike. This is coming from the ground. You hear someone speaking in Arabic, and you hear the dogs.
Yeah, I think what we'll have to see is how this looks in the morning. Meaning, when the sun comes up, we'll be able to see exactly what was hit, how big is the damage, and we will also know if there are any casualties among the Houthis. Just last week, the U.S. helicopters fired at some small boats that the Houthis sent to try and kidnap a commercial ship. 10 Houthi rebels were killed. And the interesting question to me is whether the U.S. did these airstrikes on targets that had Houthi militants in them, or it was just empty targets that only had weapon caches or missile positions. And I think this is a big, big question, because this will determine what will be the Houthi response to this.
General Marks, what do you see in this video that we have?
Yeah, quickly as well, it's worth noting that we're going to get responses here, not just in Iraq, but in Israel, Saudi Arabia. There are going to be more attacks on Americans in Israel here in sort of retaliation for our retaliation. It's a tinderbox.
That looks like these are secondary explosions. That's significant. Frankly, if there aren't any Houthi fighters co-located with where those ammunition depots might be, or some of their capabilities might be located, I'm okay with that. Let's get rid of all of their inventory so that they have a much diluted capacity to do what they've been doing. Let's go after their helicopters so that they can't raid the ships that are cruising through the Red Sea. Let's go after their ability to launch over the horizon, their drones, their ballistic missiles, their cruise missiles. Let's get rid of all of those. And then you end up with a formation of Houthis with no capability, no kit to do anything that they want to try to do. This is a long process. We can't view this as a video game. We don't turn it on and there are no consequences and then it's over when we want it to be over. This is the matter of diligence and presence. That's what the U.S. Navy, that's what the Air Force, that's what our services do. We shouldn't.
Yeah, let's quickly get some updates here from Al Jazeera. So, U.S. official expected attacks on Houthi targets in Yemen. Reuters. Okay, so we got the strikes. We saw that. That's fine. Okay, recap of the latest. Here we go. So, 9 Palestinians have been killed in Rafah after a residential building they were taking refuge in collapsed. This is from Israel. Then we've got, obviously, the strikes happening here. I'm looking at coverage from Al Jazeera to try to see if I can get a little bit of update or intel on this. It doesn't look like they're giving much more. Okay, I thought they might. All right, we'll get some more here. Let's listen here for a moment while I get some more.
There may be secondary explosions there.
Yes.
You can see, obviously, one explosion, but also the flash bulbs almost going off of what appear to be other explosions, in which case that's an indication that the U.S. may have well hit their targets in going after stockpiles of weapons. And the weapons listed are those that the Houthis have used to target international shipping. And that's been the point of this, not to defeat the...
Okay, U.S. statement, we hit them pretty hard, pretty good regarding tonight's strikes.
Of course, that the attacks on international shipping either will stop or these attacks were a possibility and in the future remain a possibility. So given the reports of explosions we have seen coming out of Yemen, again, these are just social media reports, but given the number of reports we have seen, it wouldn't surprise me if we see more of these videos coming out, giving us a better sense of the scale and scope of the U.S. and UK operation here, and perhaps other countries participating as well.
Right. And important what you say there. We don't know other countries at this point, if so, who. And we also don't know, at least as far as I understand, Oren, correct me if I'm wrong, the exact number of targets. We know more than a dozen, but that's the description at this point.
The U.S., the U.K., with support from Australia, Canada, the Netherlands, and Bahrain.
Worked sort of both on and off with the Saudis as they had a years-long war with the Houthis. So there is certainly knowledge of the capabilities that the Houthis have, and that perhaps gave them a picture of where exactly the Houthis have it to know where to strike. Obviously, the U.S. has all sorts of other ways.
We don't know if this is true here, but there's a comment here. My nephew lives in Iran. He just told me Iran is scrambling their aircraft.
And then in the course of the next hours and days, we'll get a better sense of what they hit, what they didn't hit, perhaps. Of course, intel is imperfect and it has holes in it and gaps in it, so we'll get a better picture of that. But these are all questions as we see the first videos of these explosions here.
And as we're watching this, when you talk about, we'll find out what they did hit and what they didn't hit. Barak Ravid, let me ask you about that, because you had indicated that even if we're talking about more than a dozen strikes, and I understand that is not as precise as many viewers may want to hear, it's not as precise as we want more information, but that's what we have right now. That would, you didn't use the word tip of the iceberg, but you did seem to indicate that's a little bit, there's a lot. Can you contextualize this as everyone tries to understand this war? This is a significant strike, it's a significant step, but as it could escalate, how much more is there?
Yeah, I think there's much more. Again, the Houthis are a well-equipped, well-trained militia. They have, I think, equipment that only several non-state actors around the world have. Maybe the other actor is Hezbollah in Lebanon. Both of them are supported and backed by Iran. But Aaron, I think just an interesting update, because President Biden just issued a statement about this airstrike, and he said there's something interesting, that while the US and the UK were the ones who actually conducted the strike, they had support of several kinds of support from Australia, Bahrain, Canada, and the Netherlands, something that we did not know until now. And President Biden says in his statement that the main goal of those airstrikes were to try and end this threat by the Houthi rebels to freedom of navigation in the Red Sea.
General, try and end seems to be hopeful at best.
Right.
I mean, it appears very clear that's not what this is. This is actually, while it is the first.
Yeah, also worth noting that there are a bunch of Patriot surface-to-air missile systems in Saudi Arabia and other U.S. assets that are now on high alert for potential retaliation, obviously from Iran, Iranian-backed forces, or whatever.
We will find out that there will be some damage that was absolutely spot on, and there will be misses in this attack, which means that you're going to be there for a while. And the second part is that we do have a coalition of the willing. We do have other partners, as Barak has indicated. That's important. And not every one of those needs to be a shooter. Look, when you have operations like this, you have folks that have to support, they have to watch your back, they got to make sure that nobody's trying to conduct these little small patrol boats that are going to try to ram or go after the main shooters. So the fact that the UK and the US probably conducted these strikes, the other players, the other participants had a significant and important role, but they may not have brought the damage against the shore targets that the Houthis have.
And Oren, what do you understand in terms of how broad this may be? Going off of what Barak just said, Barak mentioned Australia and others as some sort of a coalition, to use the word.
We expected there were other countries involved, and we're now seeing effectively the White House confirm that and say it wasn't just the US and the UK here. There was international backing, and that was very much something the US was looking for. And you can see it not just in this operation. The UN Security Council resolution condemning the Houthi attacks in the Red Sea, that's part of this as well. It gives international legitimacy to the need to protect international shipping, and if the threat continues, to respond to that threat. And that's what the US is trying to do here. Not start a war with the Houthis, but try to send a message that these attacks have to stop. It's a message not just directed at the Houthis, but also one directed at Iran, as we see them seize another vessel earlier today, according to both the US and Iranian media. It is that threat to commercial shipping that has been one of the big goals here, because it's such a critical waterway the US was looking for, and as we learn now, got international backing for how critical of a threat this was, backing this action tonight by the US and the UK.
General, you've talked about how obviously there are threats to burn battleships and destroy, burn U.S. bases. Express that as a bit of hyperbole. And certainly we've seen, obviously, them launch missiles at ships, right, that have been repelled by U.S. air defense. But have we seen their full capability in the context of what we know and what Barak is speaking of, that they have the capability that they and perhaps only Hezbollah have as non-state actors?
Yeah, they have some tremendous capabilities. We've seen those. What we're not going to see is what I would describe as any form of, that's a terrorist organization. We're not going to see any operational art at play here. We're not going to see some synchronized type of operations. What we're going to see is terrorist activity, pinpoint targeting. They're going to go after the morale of the...
Yeah, we're getting also updates. It looks like Biden is releasing a statement. I'm not exactly sure where, but U.S. military forces together with the United Kingdom and support from Australia, Bahrain, Canada, and the Netherlands successfully conducted airstrikes against a number of targets in Yemen. These strikes are in direct response to the Houthi attacks against international maritime vessels in the Red Sea.
Is those organizations are going to say, I'm going to go elsewhere, which means you're going to bear the cost of my rerouting my distribution.
Will not hesitate to direct further measures after airstrikes on Houthi targets.
But there is not going to be a magnificent change in terms of their capabilities. We're not going to have the images that we have right now of what we see in Gaza.
And Oren, as we look at this video, and there's going to be more, we understand here from Houthi official posting on Twitter, which is where some of this plays out, that there were raids in 4 places. At least this is what they're saying. One of which we're looking at right here in Sada in Yemen, north of Sana'a, Sana'a itself, Odeya Governorate, and Damar. So when you think about Yemen itself and where we now understand these strikes were, at least coming from the Houthi side, where they're saying they were struck, what does that say to you?
Well, first, it speaks to the level of planning that went into this. This wasn't, let's compare it to Iraq and Syria when the U.S. carries out a strike there. That's normally one target or just a couple of targets. This was on a much broader scale than that, which requires a level of coordination, especially when you're doing this with an ally and with other partners backing you up. This isn't something you can plan on your own. You can try to plan it quickly, but that, of course, all takes time. Knowing where your targets are, knowing what kind of assets you have to use, then coordinating that between different assets, launching your attack, and that is fighter jets, surface vessels, as well as submarines, and using an ally to attack in that as well. There is a tremendous level of coordination required to carry out a strike like this, and having the confidence to do that. And perhaps we'll get a better sense of how much planning went into this, how much monitoring, but that's a key part of this here, the level of preparation, the level of integration, frankly, that was required to carry out a wide-scale operation on multiple targets like this. It is not a strike against all of the Houthis. It is specifically intended to try to limit their ability to threaten international shipping. But, of course, now we see how the Houthis respond here and where this goes. The Houthis promising very much to respond to any American action.
All right, well, the White House breaking its silence now with a formal statement updating. MJ Lee is at the White House. And MJ, what are you learning?
Yeah, Aaron, we've gotten that official confirmation from President Biden himself confirming these airstrikes on Houthi-controlled areas in Yemen. He says, as a part of this lengthy statement, that at my direction, U.S. military forces, together with the United Kingdom and with support from a number of other countries, he names Australia, Bahrain, Canada, and the Netherlands, successfully conducted strikes against a number of targets in Yemen used by Houthi rebels to endanger freedom of navigation in one of the world's most vital waterways. The statement goes on to say and lists some of the ways in which the president says these attacks by the Houthis have endangered U.S. personnel, civilian mariners, and other partners, jeopardized trade, and threatened freedom of navigation. The end of this statement that we just got from the president is also worth highlighting because he talks about the potential for future action from the U.S. and other allied nations. He says these targeted strikes are a clear message that the United States and our partners will not tolerate attacks on our personnel or allow hostile actors to imperil freedom of navigation in one of the world's most critical commercial routes. He says, I will not hesitate to direct further measures to protect our people and the free flow of international commerce as necessary. Aaron, as we've talked about in a lot of ways, this kind of action, though we didn't know again until in real time, until the attacks had happened, that these attacks had been led by the U.S. and the U.K., targeting Houthi assets in Yemen. In so many ways, U.S. officials had been warning publicly.
Just also got an update that the Royal Navy will continue patrolling in the region. Royal Navy and Royal Air Force participated.
Attacks that we saw on Tuesday, that sort of served as the final warning and the final straw for President Biden, who greenlit his team to go ahead and go into preparing for these airstrikes that we are seeing on our screen right now. But again, those preparations in many ways have been underway for a while now, given for how long, for how many weeks these Houthi attacks have been ongoing in the Red Sea, Aaron.
All right, MJ, thank you. And General Marks, just as MJ's going through the broader list here of who's in this coalition, Canada, the Netherlands, the UK, Australia, Bahrain. Bahrain, obviously the home of Fifth Fleet. And yet, in the context of this and where this came from, of course, which originated with the October 7th attacks and then the Israeli response and the war in Gaza, the Hamas-Israeli war, you don't see the UAE or Saudi on that list. Of course, you see Bahrain, home of the U.S. Fifth Fleet. But what do you make of this list of countries and who is not on it, especially in that region?
Well, the fact that Bahrain's on it, I mean, that's a good sign. And before they agreed to join this coalition in some capacity, and it's not described what that looks like.
Right.
I would guarantee you it probably includes a level of intelligence sharing. And they have a capability that allows them to provide what I would call port security, kind of literal security. So,
all right, the USS Florida was the Ohio-class cruise missile submarine that was involved. And the Houthis are claiming that they will forcefully respond to the U.S. battleships in the region. They're, quote, we will respond forcefully to the American and British battleships in the Red Sea. They say that we will confront American aggression. Right now, it looks like the Houthis are providing a televised address in Yemen. I do not have that. Not that I would understand it anyway, but I have a translation of it. Okay, let's get some of those notes here. We have the leader of the Houthis has threatened the U.S. and its allies with a big response. We'll confront American aggression. No American attack will go unpunished. It's the largest attack by the U.S. to date in response to the Houthi attacks.
You also see who isn't.
It's like the only response.
State actors in the Middle East who view Houthis as their enemies as well. So what do you take away from that?
So first, I think the two main players that you do not see here is Saudi Arabia and the UAE, each of them for a different reason, for an opposite reason, actually. The Saudis have been negotiating with the Houthis some sort of a peace plan to end the war in Yemen and to end, and you know, there was a very long truce, more than a year of a truce between Saudi Arabia and the Houthis, and the Saudis want to continue that. They don't want to throw that into the trash. This is why.
All right, we're going to give a quick summary on everything that's going on just so you have a full update on this, and it's just really easy to get you caught up. Yeah, let's get into that. Oh, keep in mind, we've got a coupon code expiring for the courses on building your wealth on the 31st of this month. If you have questions for bundling up, email us at staff@mekevin.com. Okay, let's get into the full update here, which you can also find at ehack.com, and I'll explain it. Okay, here we go. Well, the United States and the United Kingdom, jointly with the support of Australia, Canadian forces, and forces from Bahrain, have conducted airstrikes in Yemen. Yes, this is in direct retaliation to the Houthi attacks in the Red Sea on not only American but international shipping vessels. The Guardian this morning warned that an attack like this was prepared and it was likely. Here is a map of all of the attacks that have taken place in blue here. Blue dots being November and December 2023 attacks on vessel-reported incidences in the Red Sea. Red dots are January 2024 attacks. Right here on November 19th, Houthis actually landed on a cargo ship via helicopter, in a now pretty viral TikTok video that had circulated for a while. But point is, the United States has responded and attacked various different regions and cities, including the capital of Yemen. It's worth noting that the Houthis took control of Yemen in 2014. They were actually declared a terrorist organization under the Trump administration, a declaration that the Biden administration unwound. The Biden administration basically unlabeled this group a terror group. Again, this is ehack.com. You can see my research and some comments that I throw on the website. I keep them up there for free. They'll always be free, and they're there. Go to ehack.com if you want to read it. I'll point out some things from this now. We've got aircraft carrier in the regions. We've got F-35s. We've got U.S. submarines like the Ohio-class missile sub USS Florida in the region. Apparently, all of these participated in not only aerially delivered strikes, but also Tomahawk cruise missile strikes. I wouldn't be surprised if you had the submarine and aircraft carrier launch attacks from the sea, while at the same time from Saudi Arabia to the north, you got an attack via F-35s, B-2 bombers, whatever. The real concern now is, does this escalate us into World War III? A lot of folks are worried that, yes, that's exactly what this is going to cause. In fact, there are reports that air raid sirens are going off at the U.S. Embassy in the Green Zone in Baghdad, which is not good. That means there are some kind of retaliatory attacks on U.S. embassies in other regions in the Middle East. There are reports that, I mean, some people are saying, this is in the comments, okay, but in the comments, some people are saying Iran is scrambling its air force. There are allegations that the Houthis are launching barrages of counter-ballistic missiles against ships in the Red Sea, and Houthis have argued that they will retaliate. In fact, in the latest statement here from the Houthis, we find that, let's see here, Houthis, we will respond forcefully to the American and British battleships in the Red Sea. The Royal Navy will stay in the region. The Royal Air Force also participated in the strikes. Houthi leaders say they will confront American aggression. Obviously, Biden came out and suggested that, hey, we won't hesitate to take further action. Essentially, if the Houthis want to keep fighting, we'll come back for more airstrikes. That's essentially the threat. At the same time, the United States is expecting some kind of retaliation. The airstrikes are now over, but the U.S. is expecting some kind of retaliation, and therefore we have our Patriot missile defense systems in Saudi Arabia along that northern border of Yemen on high alert. It's worth kind of just looking at a map here so you can understand this a little better. So when you zoom in, right, we're over here, we've got Sudan, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iraq is really up here by Syria, Jordan, Israel, above Kuwait. Well, in between all of where this drama is, we have Saudi Arabia, which is where the United States has bases, air bases, and otherwise, we have the Red Sea right here, which is a very, very important shipping route. It takes about 35% longer to get ships around the tip of Africa here and get them into Europe. Now, a lot of these southbound ships from Russia, since Russia does have Port Sevastopol over here, a lot of the southbound ships have actually not been attacked because the Houthis are specifically attacking countries that are supporting Israel via mostly northbound traffic to Israel, mostly cargo ships rather than oil ships. Anyway, attacks now launched along coastal cities here as well as the capital of Yemen. We have, again, reports that the airstrikes ended after about 44 minutes. The airstrikes were first reported at about 3:38 p.m. California time. They were reported to have ended by about 4:22. So this was probably about a 30-minute operation, realistically, by the time we had the news. That's relatively quick. It looks like we heard from the Pentagon that 10 targets were bombed in Yemen. One of them was a UAV production facility. We have also heard that storage facilities have been bombed, radar locations have been bombed, any kind of anti-ship or anti-air facilities have likely been bombed. Anything that the United States could do to limit the ability of drones and rockets to move out or attack ships from the Red Sea have essentially been targeted. Here are some specific city names. I do not know how to pronounce these city names, so I'll just leave the words here on screen so you can see that. But that is what's going on now. Now, keep in mind, obviously, the greatest concern everybody has is what is next? Because now we have the tinderbox got lit a long time ago, okay? I mean, we could go into history and talk about the United States trying to control oil in the region after, giving like Al-Qaeda plans for nuclear weapons in the 70s. I mean, we can go far back, okay? Or whatever. But the point is, more recently, after the attack on Israel and then the Israeli incursion into the Gaza Strip, Houthis, who are a leading party in Yemen, who are also deemed to be backed by Iran, they have started attacking ships in the Red Sea to disrupt trade. That creates an inflation issue. I was surprised, but on Christmas Eve, we actually had U.S. warships in the region with Operation Prosperity Garden, and that Prosperity Garden wasn't very prosperous because apparently we were still getting attacked to the point where shippers are like, look, we thought we could go back to shipping under your escorts. This is not good enough. We quit. We're not shipping over here anymore. So what happened? The prices of container ships skyrocketed. 40-foot containers went up from $1,200 to somewhere around 2.5x as expensive, if not even more expensive, depending on the type of container. Now, when containers get more expensive, some goods move to air freight and to truck freight. So, air freight and truck freight has substantially has seen large price increases in the Middle East. So, what does that do? It increases costs for producers. There is a belief that an increased cost for producers could lead to more inflation, which is highly unpopular for the sitting president right now. And this is my opinion, okay? And keep in mind, before I give you my opinion, I just want to pitch, yes, we have a coupon expiring for the amazing gold course link down below. Lifetime membership includes the course member live streams, and I teach you all I know about finance, from real estate investing, stock investing, how to be an entrepreneur, sales, how to not pay taxes, and build your wealth the real way. There's some amazing hacks in the gold course, as well as the stocks and psychology, money, 0 to millionaire real estate, do-it-yourself property management, you name it, YouTube, whatever. There are plenty of courses there. Check those out at meetkevin.com. Next price increase is on January 31st. Email us for bundles at staff@meetkevin.com. But what's most important is that the sitting president wants stability, because when we come to election time, Joe Biden will benefit from an economy that hasn't crashed, hopefully, right? Hopefully the economy hasn't crashed, right? But Joe Biden would benefit from that. Joe Biden would benefit from a real estate market that's up, a stock market that's up, and inflation that's down, right? And people not being jobless. Donald Trump would benefit from basically the opposite. More of the political and geopolitical instability we're seeing, more inflation, housing prices going down, and stock prices going down. That's understandable, because when people have pain, they can vote with their pocketbooks, and when they vote with their pocketbooks, they usually vote for regime change. So that's why, for the Biden administration, stability in the Red Sea is very, very important. The question is this creating stability, or is it warmongering? Because if it's warmongering and we're actually creating instability, then we have bigger problems. The strikes against the terrorist group in Yemen were an attempt to degrade the capacity to wage war, as well as restore deterrence in the region. I think it's very interesting that they say restore deterrence in the region. That somewhat implies we've lost our ability to deter attacks in the Middle East. I would agree with that. There doesn't seem to be much deterrence. Joe Biden has released a relatively large statement. I have a copy of that statement now. I'm going to throw that up on screen. Stand by. New statement out right now. Today, at my discretion, U.S. military forces, together with the United Kingdom and support from Australia, Bahrain, Canada, and the Netherlands, successfully conducted strikes against a number of targets in Yemen used by Houthi rebels to endanger freedom of navigation in one of the world's most vital waterways. These strikes are a direct response to the unprecedented Houthi attacks on international vessels in the Red Sea. We've been attacked 27 times at this point. This has affected 20 plus countries, and we had one of their largest attacks just recently on January 9th, to which obviously we've now responded to with an unequivocal warning to Houthi rebels that they would bear the consequences if their attacks did not cease. And yesterday, the UN Security Council passed a resolution demanding the Houthis end their attacks, which of course was followed with a clear message of targeted strikes by the United States and partners. And of course, the threat that the United States will not the United States basically is prepared to direct further measures after airstrikes on Houthi targets should it be necessary for there to be more airstrikes. These, by the way, come just as Anthony Blinken wrapped up another tour of the region, and having Blinken over there somewhat suggests, obviously, this is a top priority for the administration, as it should be for, quite frankly, the administration and America. Hopefully, this does not escalate into having lit a tinderbox, which would be a disaster. Anyway, you can read all of these updates and links to more information at ehack.com. It's free. It's free forever. I put stock picks on there. I put short ideas, long ideas, Bitcoin ideas, real estate ideas, Fed ideas. Everything I put, everything that I can put out there in terms of research. Not everything I have, but everything that I get on there, I try to put it on there. I leave it there forever, so you have the same research that I do. And again, if you want to learn the way that I teach building wealth, easiest way, check out meetkevin.com. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, and let's pray that this is not the start of something worse.
Agreed. Thank you, thank Kevin for the extra content for my stream. I've liked and sub to your channel. Thank you, 60 minutes. I've liked and sub to your stream. I've liked and sub to your channel. I don't like 60 minutes very much, but they're not bad. You know, they're not bad, but I don't like them. I'm going to say that. Now, do they have journalistic integrity? Yes, I would say. I'm not questioning that. I'm saying I don't like their style. It's a little too serial. I think it's a little sensationalist. I think it's a little, you know, it's just a little more sensationalist than I care the news to be, but usually it's really good. I liked it when I was a kid. When I was like 7, I thought 60 Minutes was really good. Now it seems like it's an establishment tool. You know, a little bit. Let's see my OBS. Excuse me. Very good. Absolutely. I left social media back in 2015, and I didn't look back. I didn't find it very fun.
It's the vote that holds America together. Belief that with a ballot, voices are heard, disputes are addressed, and there's always another chance. Countries without this belief tend to be in bondage or at war.
Skill has increased.
Election day is coming, but across America, belief is under attack. Politicians who say the 2020 election was stolen are running for governor in 19 states, attorney general in 10, and in 12 states, election deniers are running for Secretary of State, which would give them power over elections. After 2 years of investigations and audits, no fraud or error has been found in any state that would change the 2020
There was no evidence
outcome.
of it. You guys are
But in
liars.
2022, spreading doubt has been key to an endorsement from Donald Trump. No state has been more deeply riven by this than Arizona, where a split in the GOP has Republicans on opposite sides of a Grand Canyon. On one side of the Arizona chasm stands Rusty Bowers, a lifelong Republican and artist who became Arizona's Speaker of the House. Bowers told us he was disappointed.
Get off the
when
stage.
Joe
Stop
Biden
killing our
won.
country.
So when President